And whether we've been through that either as a parent or as a child, I think um, I think there's always dysfunction. And this conversation today is not about dysfunction. The point is, out of pain comes something beautiful for most of us, right? And I would make that comment both in life and in business. Some of the I've been in business 30, plus years or whatever, and some of the best days in business is when I drove home thinking, how are we going to make it to the end of the month, right? Or losing that big sale, that big customer that I worked so hard to get. What do I do next? Or going to bed not being able to sleep because of the stress of the funnel or the workload or resources failing us, or like today I had a technology dispute, argument, fight over with one of our platforms. And I just wanted to cuss and throw stuff against the wall because technology failed me in that case. But I think out of pain comes a lot of beautiful, beautiful things. So I see that in your life. I read it in your demeanor. Again, I've seen your gifts on display. I'm curious, just for fun, you had a point with your Juilliard experience where you could have gone in acting, but you chose a business path. Frankly, you're a good-looking dude, man. I could see you on the big movie screen or on Broadway. But why did you choose? Why business over acting? You had that is a gift that I recognize. Why the detour? Why the path down business?
Couple of different reasons, Chuck. The first one was I had just spent a summer in the city, 3 months living in the Juilliard dorms, 66 in Broadway, Lincoln Center area. And at 18 years old, being from South Carolina through and through, had been lucky to do some travel, but 3 months in the middle of Manhattan, I was kind of ready to get back home, man. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie. And I couldn't see myself doing 16-hour days, 6 days a week as a grind to hopefully maybe catch that stardom, having just got accepted into the Southeastern prestigious Moore School of Business at the University of South Carolina.
Right.
So that decision came relatively quickly come August of 2011 for
Mm.
me to get back down to Columbia and wear my garnet in black. And no regrets. Loved every minute. I was there during a great period and learned a lot from those 4.5 years in Columbia.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, great school. Out of Darla Moore School of Business, there have been just champions, right? Developed and not birthed, but developed and launched. So it's a great school, and I applaud you on that. Why go into a business with with your type of personality, your demeanor, again, your skills and your gifts? You went into a very technical arena in terms of business and finance. I do mergers and acquisitions. I get it, man. It can be a grind. It can be a dogfight, particularly in the areas of finances and working with small businesses. Why did you choose that path?
Yeah, I think having seen what my mother did with her own business, starting her own business, growing her own consulting firm, seeing my dad do his own business, starting a business, running that, working for different companies. I saw the impacts that businesses could make when they're done the right way. And I saw the freedoms it could give individuals on a team of accomplishing a same goal.
Hmm.
And I vibed with that. I
Yeah,
wanted to be a part of that.
yeah,
Um, and so that's what led me to that. Having then learned that my communication skill was maybe a little bit more advantageous for me to hone in on,
Mm,
I went the PR route and now consider myself doing corporate communications and PR for a larger, more business focused sense.
yeah. Do you see, and you're, again, you lead the market here in Charleston for now CFO. We'll unpack what you guys do in just a few minutes. I want to drill down a little further on who you are because I think as we get to know the folks that we listen to, like we get into their heart and into their soul, it makes listening to them and what they do a lot more palatable, right? Because we feel like, and it's interesting. As I said, we've got listeners all over the world, right? We have a ton of international listeners. We have a ton of people, obviously, in the U.S. here. We're building a very quickly growing podcast. Um, but I think everybody wants to know as they listen to Campbell, they want to know the why, right? Not what you do necessarily, but why you do what you do. And I'm curious just to take that one step further. What drives you, right? Because you're a man full of energy. Again, I've seen that on display, but what gets you out of bed in the morning?
Coffee. No, I mean, I do have a lot of energy, Chuck. There's a lot of things that get me up out of bed in the morning. My family, the people I surround myself with, the drive to make a difference in the community that I live in. And that last one's probably what I'll harp on probably for the longest is um, my community grows every day, and I'm not confined to a community by a zip code or a state line. Um, it's an ongoing community that I'm eager to network and connect with as deep of a level as possible. Um, that's what gets me going. I think growing that community and making a difference in that community as much as I can from wherever and however I can.
Yeah. Talk, Campbell, for a moment. Again, tons of long-term CEOs that listen to the Chuck Crumpton show, but thousands of people that are starting their career. Some of them are doing it in art, culture, travel, business, sales, marketing, you name it, engineering, accounting. I mean, we have a wide range of audience members. For the people that are out there hoofing it, and I was there 25 years ago, right? You get out of bed, you have your KPIs, you know how many doors you want to knock on, how many phone calls you want to make, how are you going to create your sales funnel, blah, blah, blah. Um, Talk us through and talk to those people that are at, their stage, your stage in life and business, building a business, which you are. Um, how do you do not get out of bed, but how do you build that? And what advice would you give that person starting their career? Because sales, which you're in, you're in a high-tech sales environment, very technical. You got to be smart to do it. But talk to that person that may be in your shoes right now. What
Oh,
advice?
100%. 100%. I mean, don't let the real and raw rhetoric fool you. It comes down to dollars and cents. That balance sheet is massively important. Whether it's the personal balance sheet or the business balance sheet, it's massively important for the longevity of the career and the community that you might be trying to serve. So there's definitely an impact that I make day to day with the organization that I represent called Now CFO. And as a millennial, I can feel good about making the connections and driving the sales that I'm in my day-to-day role in is providing that high level CFO or controller to the business that needs it, but probably doesn't have the $200,000 full stock options and benefit salary that a CFO in this crazy accounting labor market might need for a business like that. And so there's some goodwill factor there, and something that I can be passionate about, making the connections and providing those communications for.
Yeah. Would you agree with me? My statement generally, to we deal with just about every industry, in our business, at all different levels. But I tell our folks at Bull Street, and I'm a believer. I'd like to know your opinion on this. Regardless of what we do, my neighbor owns a M&A firm that sells accounting practices, right? So, um, and I've got, look at our friend base, they do a little bit of everything. But my general opinion is that regardless of what industry we're in, at whatever we do functionally in that industry, we are relationship managers at the end of the day. Would you concur with me? Are we aligned on that statement?
100,000%, Chuck. I think as humans in a growing age of technology, the relationships are what's going to be the most impactful.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter at the end of the day, you know, what the resume may be. It's how you go in there and carry yourself and have the conversations in that interview, because that's a lot of times, where the relationship starts and is made in that first impression.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I'm
I
with you
agree.
100%.
Yeah, I totally agree. Right, the first impressions, and then building that relationship. I can't tell you how many times my friends and family laugh at me where I've had dinner meetings, for instance, that involved very good wine and bread, right? Breaking of bread for fellowship and good wine that could be 4 to 5 hours in length, and business came at the last 15 minutes of that 4 hour event because my client or my prospect wanted to see the real Chuck Crumpton. They wanted to see my trust and credibility, right? Because people do business with people they like and trust. We know that. But it's interesting that relationship plays such a role, such an important, impactful role, regardless of what we do. If we're a CEO or we're a sales guy or an engineer, an accountant, or whatever, building those relationships are just vital, right?
Absolutely. Connecting with people, um, being genuine, being raw,
Yeah,
being real, being yourself as
yeah,
much as you can, um, is really what's going to get you further
yeah.
in that ecosystem of business, I think. It's my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're aligned, my friend. We're aligned on that. And you guys are providing uh, high level technical financial resources. Maybe there's a better way to articulate that mission with now CFO. Maybe fractional resources, right? That to your point earlier, some companies can't afford that $300,000 CFO, but they can't afford a $30,000 a year fractional CFO. Love the concept. My former life of building a healthcare practice in regulatory compliance, it's exactly what we did. We would take 25-year veterans from FDA and we would dole them out on a fractional basis, maybe 8 to 10 hours a week, for 150 clients that we had around the world, right? And they got what they needed without overpaying. So I believe in that model. Um, and this is not a now CFO question. It's a Campbell question, but what's the hardest part about not that model? Because I believe in the model. I think you guys do great work. It's a great company. It's a great model. I believe in the model, but what's the hardest part for you as you build this market for this company?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I tell people when I'm out very quickly that I'm the extrovert for the introverted or maybe too busy accountant.
Mm,
And so being able to show people and express